What's going on, y'all? This is Freddie Johnson, the owner of Iron Cuts Barber Den. Just taking a little time tonight to talk about Greek life. There have been experiences that, men and women have had in joining fraternities and sororities that we're going to take time to talk about. They're going to share. You might be somebody who's watching or listening, and you might be, kind of contemplating, thinking about maybe joining a fraternity or sorority, or you may even be in a fraternity or sorority and just want to take time to kind of reflect on the things that you've experienced, or maybe this might, be an opportunity for you to rekindle your fire and your purpose, why you joined that fraternity or sorority. So, this is just a short session that we're having at the ATL Barber Den, and we're here, of course, in Atlanta, Georgia, at Iron Cuts Barber Den. We're gonna chop it up a little bit. Check it out. Yeah. Well, the first question I want to ask is, and anybody can jump on this one. What made you want to join a fraternity or sorority?
Me culturally growing up, my family, none of my family's Greek. Even where I was the first African American male in my family, or the first male in my family to attend college and graduate. So I grew up in an environment where, I didn't see positivity, like a group of men coming together and doing stuff together in a positive way. It was always negative, like a gang or something of that sort. So when I went to college, even throughout high school, I never seen anything of that sort. So when I went to college and I just seen dudes in their suits and they strolling, you know what I'm saying? And they coming from class, you can tell because they got their books in their hands, they got their book bags on. I was like, man, it was like a culture shock. It's like, this is nothing I never ever seen before, and I want to be a part of it.
I didn't really know much about it, coming out of high school, just from basically what you see like on the movies and stuff. And then once you get on campus, you kind of see everybody walking around with their letters and stuff. Even at that point, initially coming in as a freshman, I wasn't all that impressed because it's like, I know how I am, where I'm from. That's not something that you really see, and that's something that you really gravitate to.
Yeah.
I think as I matriculated through my undergrad career, as my mindset started to change as far as like for the future, what I wanted to do with my career and how I want to present myself, it started lining up as, okay, my mindset with what I want to do matches up to what they're trying to do. So for me, if I wanted to put myself in the best position to be successful, I had to expand and upgrade my circle.
You want people to challenge who you are intellectually, spiritually, physically. And I think that's the most reason why anybody would join any fraternity. I don't care what fraternity you join. I think that's why you join a fraternity, because you want to be challenged as a African American fraternity. That was specifically what I'm talking about. So
when the reason why I didn't like fraternities at first, because the only side I got to see of them was the party side, and that just kind of shied me away from fraternities. But the more I started going to church and going through stuff, the frat brothers that I have now, I didn't know they were in fraternities until I went to a party and saw that they was in it. And once I saw that they will, even if they're struggling, they will still help you. And that's the type of person I am. So it's like, if they can do that for me, I want to do that for somebody else. And you bless me, you gonna get blessed. And I'm the type of, I like to bless people. So
yeah,
that's where mine pretty much came in at.
Now for me, I have my mother and two of my aunts who are part of sororities, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. So it was in my family, but not as blatant and not as direct. It was kind of working in the background through lessons, through teachings. Anything that I really saw in terms of Greek through my development was just kind of visual. Just seeing things laying around. And as I matriculated through high school, getting ready to graduate to go to college, I actually joined the scholarship program that the local Alpha grad chapter hosted every year to develop scholarships to go to college. And one of the events that they would host was a botillion. So The year that I joined, they wanted to incorporate stepping within the routine, and they hired a Sigma to teach the steps. Little did I know that this Sigma would become my mentor, and just kind of, in a general sense, just kind of show me the ropes, give me some life lessons.
How did you get information that helped you to make a decision of what fraternity or sorority to join?
I think he made a great point. He said mentorship. I think a lot of people don't understand like how much mentorship means to a young man who don't have much mentorship in the community. You know, as far as myself, I didn't have that much mentorship. Me going to college, and for someone, you know, older than me that's doing something positive to say, hey, I see something in you, I want you to join an organization. I feel like you're a leader. I feel like you can, you know, bring this to my organization because you have these certain qualities. It's really fulfilling for a young man who his whole entire life has been told, you know, you're not gonna be this, you're not gonna be that, you know what I'm saying, or you this or you that, and you're saying to yourself in the mirror, like, I know I'm great, I just want somebody else to see it, and then for somebody else to reciprocate that and say, hey, I know you are great, and I want you to join my organization. I think that's a big part of, you know, finding out any information starting out is mentorship, and it's not enough of it.
I come from a family of AKAs, so I'm from a legacy. But seeing in our family, we still have a few people that are in different organizations. So seeing the differences, like through growing up and how everybody interacted, it was always love. But I always knew that they still had their different, you know, qualities and attributes to them. So being able to test the waters as I was young and then go to college and see the differences as a grown woman, you're able to compare and contrast which one fits better with who you are as a person and who you're trying to be.
But one thing we got to understand too is that mentorship goes both ways, right? You got to have somebody who wants to be a mentor, but then you have to have somebody who wants to be mentored, right? You can't mentor somebody who doesn't want to be mentored. So I think for us, it's important that we set such an example that these young men and young women want to be mentored by us. Because if we're not setting the example, then they're going to go towards somebody who they more relate to. They're not be some person that need to be around.
Well, I don't know about anybody else, and I'm pretty sure they can agree to this before you pledge. These guys are your friends.
Yeah.
And then by the time that door closes and it's your first night, they're a completely different person. Like, I kid you not. My very first night, I walked in, Carlton, my DP, I walked in, I was like, what's up? He was like, let's go. I was like, what are you talking to? And after that, it all went downhill. But it gets better. The process is what you make it. And it just goes from there.
In my case, my mindset and my thinking it was pretty scattered, because you have perceptions or you have exposure to what other people has kind of put out, whether it's through their experience, whether it's movies or documentaries, and then at the same time you realize that information is limited, and you really don't know what to expect. And then once it starts to actually happen, since you have no idea what to expect, now you're kind of just going along, still trying to compare and contrast what you think is going on, what you've been exposed to versus what's actually happening. So trying to really find, I guess, like a center to it all, like a commonality between what you think you know and what's actually going on. It can just kind of put you in disarray. So as you kind of get the hang of it, you know, you realize what's going on, you realize what needs to be done, the parameters of the experience, you're able to adjust, and you're able to make that experience your own.
I think for me, I realized how much I didn't appreciate sleep. Because then you have the extra workload that you got to take on, and you still balancing out with school and work and other organizations that you're in. I think for me, I was still in I was still in 3 other organizations as well as working at the time when I pledged. So the balancing act was something I had to adjust to.
Okay.
But as time goes by, it's a certain appreciation you have for it, and for the people that are there with you too. Because we do say that before you go in, everybody's cool and stuff, and then there's a change afterwards. But as time goes by, you kind of open up to the bigger picture. These same individuals are here with you. Like, you're not the only one that's there, right? Yeah. In the process, you're thinking like you're the only one that's here and having to deal with some of the extra stuff. But in hindsight, it's not just you. So while you're missing out on sleep, they're missing out on sleep too, right? Because they're trying to make sure that you get information that you need, that way you are successful.
I would say, no matter what, love what you're doing. No matter what, because it's gonna be a lot of times where it's like, man, I don't want to be here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I should be at another place, but you there, so you gotta love what you're doing. You gotta love it. Yeah. You gotta actually love it. You gotta be passionate about it. So it don't matter what it is, because you don't know what that opportunity is gonna take you, or what lesson you're gonna learn from that. It's gonna take you to the next level in your life. Yeah. Or when you get to the next level, it's like, man, I learned to be on time every day. So at this job, I know I'm gonna be on time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So just love what you're doing, no matter what.
So a little bit about the time that I spent when I was joining the organization. I had just started the core classes for my major, which is Architecture 101. I was also a resident assistant for the residence halls, so that I could get free room and board. At the same time, I was a part of Air Force ROTC. Wow. So every night or so, or just as every waking day, I continuously question myself, why am I doing this? And it forced me to justify the purpose for everything I was a part of and everything I was going through. And through finding that purpose, I was able to make it to the next day. Fast forward to the contemporary times, I still stay with that process. And not only teaches you self-reflection, but it also teaches you self-worth. If I don't find purpose in doing this, then I probably shouldn't be doing it. Or it would behoove me to look for something that is worth my time, something I'm passionate about. Because if I can balance 4 things that is a time that definitely have time, that don't have time restraints, and they overlap on so many levels, and can get through each of those portions like above average, then there should be no reason for me to like pretty much settle with anything else going forward.
Initially, I thought success was more singular, right? Me going out and having a good career, me going out and building wealth and all that good stuff. But during my process at the end, I learned that success is not about what I can do for myself, but what I can do for the people around me, what I can do for the youth.
It was more about realizing who I was and who I wanted to be, and then realizing that I was truly selfish at that point. Knowing that I wanted to give to other people and I wanted to impact the world, but selfishly doing it, and not, you want to reach out to people and you want to, share your knowledge and your wealth, but only sharing like a limited amount, or feeling as though I didn't want someone to maybe get ahead of me. Yeah. And so in the process, I realized that it's all about sharing what you know and your connections and truly learning what a network is. And for me, like now seeing like the connection between it. From me first starting, like to me, I feel like the process doesn't start that first night. I feel like it really starts when you decide. on which avenue you actually want to take, which organization you want to join, because that's going to decipher, you know, how you are on campus, how you are after campus. That to me was the set foundation.
When you know your self-worth and you know how much quality you got in yourself, you're ready to tell others about the good quality that you have. So I think the first step is really truly knowing who you are and knowing your self-worth before you can say, hey, I want to pull this person up, I want to share this, I'm going to truly be this person. I think that's the first step.
Every organization that we have been discussing here, all of them have a specific stereotype that goes along with it, right? How we look at it is that you are supposed to add to the fraternity, and fraternity is not supposed to make you, right? But there are some instances, and we all know who they are, right? That some people go into it, they don't know who they are, and they think the stereotype of what the fraternity sorority is how they're supposed to be. And then when they come out of it, they end up becoming a completely different person, not who they truly are, right? And sometimes it takes them years to realize who they truly are because they've been so fixated on what fraternity or sorority is that they lost themselves, right? So it's just so important to take time to figure out who am I, what I represent, because you want to be to a point where the fraternity and sorority needs my value, what I add to it, and not the other way around. That's the only way you can fully reach your true potential in the organization, because the organization evolves based off the different ideas that you bring to it. So if you don't have your own mindset, your own idea when you come into the organization, how are you really adding value to the organization?
My line brothers, we don't skip a day without talking to each other. We talk every day. We talk about all our life problems, the wins and losses, and also throughout the years, you know, my brotherhood has changed within the fraternity with, you know, whoever. You know what I'm saying? And I'm the type of dude, I see you for who you are. I don't see fraternity. You know what I'm saying? I can walk in here and we become best friends. I see you as a man first. And if your character is flawed with that black and gold, I'm not going to mess with you. I don't care who you are. So with me, it's more of character and brotherhood.
You look at this generation coming up, and they seem to have a need to learn so much, but at the same time, they also seem to be very insightful and opinionated. You know, so moving forward, you know, where do you see it going, or how well do you see it progressing?
There's a balance in everything, always. I mean, that's why we're doing this video right now. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, just like when we was coming up, we referred back to old stories, and that's kept us grounded and balanced.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when dude's gonna look at this, some dude gonna look at this video in the fraternity and be like, oh man, I didn't have that perspective. So we gotta continue sharing stories like this and keep the history alive.
Yes,
I think the history is a big part of why organizations like this continue and continues to flourish. Yeah. Because of course they're gonna be hungry, ambitious, but still insightful. But that's when wisdom come in. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you did this. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad we got to be in here with other fraternities and other people and sororities, because this is what keep the conversation going. This is what keep our history alive in general. That's not fraternity and sororities. We are all a community. We are all a black community. Just one aspect of our black community is these fraternities and sororities. I know this is about fraternity and sororities, but I see them as being one. And if a fraternity go out there and do something crazy, they're not going to say, oh, the alphas did something crazy. Right. You know what I'm talking about. Right. They're going to say that the black man did something crazy, or the black woman did something crazy, period. So we got to, when we win, somebody do something great, they don't say, oh, you know, of course we praise our own, but they say, oh, David Prejean, that black man did that great. You know what I'm saying? My brother's over here, you know what I'm saying? They say we doing something great as a unit. I think I went off topic.